Washington finally makes some changes in 2025. Head coach Dan Quinn will now be assuming the role of defensive coordinator and play caller for the defensive side of the ball after Washington goes 2 weeks and only forces one punt and has been blown out 4 weeks in a row. And another one bites the dust. Another week, another player added to the season ending injury list. Please stop this voodoo curse riddled season. But unfortunately, we got 7 weeks to go. Let's talk about it. Good morning, Grand Rising, Washington Commanders Nation. It's your boy Rio Robinson, back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel, where we ramble about our Washington Commanders. It's 11:11. Make a wish, angel numbers on this Tuesday morning. My brother Lake Lewis Jr. will be hopping on with me in a second. It's travel day. The team arrived to Madrid earlier, and Lake will be wheels up to Madrid, Spain in the next couple hours. So if I'm going to get any time with Lake, it's going to be this morning. How are y'all doing? DQ finally made a move, y'all. He finally made a move to pick up the playbook and start calling defense again. All of a sudden, Dan Quinn's job has got extensive. He has to do more than motivate and lead men again on this Tuesday afternoon. Did y'all see the Dan Quinn presser yesterday? Did y'all watch the Dan Quinn presser? You know, you could just feel the somber tone and mood when DQ sat down at the podium yesterday, because you hate to have to take responsibility or take from a friend, but it is what it is. This is business, man. This is business, and that loyal to a fault stuff, that's not going to get it done. But obviously, he didn't fire Joe Whitt Jr., but he did. He did pretty much. He fired him, but kept him in-house. You no longer do what you do. Go to the booth and just do what you did already without the responsibility of having to call it. But the team, as we currently sit here, is without its starting quarterback, without 3 of its top 4 receivers, without its best running back on the roster, without both edge rushers, without its 2 starting outside corners, without its free safety, going into a 3-7 versus 3-7 duel in Madrid versus the Miami Dolphins. And boy, oh boy, did the excitement for this game dissipate because of what Washington's put out there on the field, because this was supposed to be the JD Cinco game. Jaden Daniels playing the first ever game in Madrid. I've seen signage, promotion, billboards, posters of Jaden hung up all around Spain. And unfortunately, these kids have to go out there and watch Marcus Mariota versus Tua Tagovailoa. But Tua might give them a show, because our defense could not stop anything right now. I really think I could gather up a crew of 11 to 15 of us, and I think we could march on our defense, because we are a very penetrable force. We are a very penetrable force. We can be penetrated very easy. And I'm not even going to put a pause on that, because this defense is bad, man. But it's not just the defense, but the defense is a big part in what's taking place. We are now 10 games into the season, 3-7. And Paul said, I'll play slot receiver. Hey, I got quarterback. Y'all gotta see how we work when we throwing it to people. I know y'all saw me not on my best effort. That's throwing it at a net. Some of us are game players. I'm a game player. Watch me work when I'm throwing it to some real life people and not throwing it at a net at a tailgate at 9:15 a.m. But, first of all, happy Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day. Everyone who served this country, put your life on the line to fight for our liberties in the United States of A. Happy Veterans Day to every single one of y'all. Please enjoy your day. I'd be remiss to forget that, but happy Veterans Day. But we're going into Spain, And there's like no excitement going into this one. But hold up, I think my guy is in the building. I'm gonna give him a second to get set up, and I'm gonna bring him in just a second to see if my guy's good to go. My brother, friend of the show, friend in real life, Lake Lewis Jr. How we doing this morning, sir?
What's up, fam? I'm good. Just getting prepped and ready to head on out and head on over to Spain.
Yeah, man. Hey, have yourself a good time. I know the team's already out there. You're headed up to Madrid this afternoon. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good, man. Just still trying to make sense out of all this. And it's always something eventful happening. So yeah, I'm sure we got a lot to talk about.
Washington is back to doing first. First team since, but it's not the good first. Like last year, we was on here every week with a new record, with a new thing to celebrate and applaud. But we're back to the impoverished days. 4 straight losses of 21 points or more. First team to do that since the 2002 Arizona Cardinals. Like,
Yeah, man. I mean, this is just it's just one of those years, Rio. You think about the run that they had last year. It seems like a dream when you think about where they are now. But I think you have to look at everything and look at the big picture. And the big picture is the saving grace out of all this is that you have a talented quarterback. You have a generational quarterback, and I still think he is. And I think obviously, thank God the injury wasn't a major injury or anything like that. So, the future's still bright for this outfit. It's just that they're going to have to get younger. They just have to. They're going to have to figure out some things. And maybe that's a good thing that Dan Quinn now can call the defense because he can see if some of these young guys really are what they're going to need going forward.
was it the media and national attention and pressure put on him, or did Dan Quinn finally say enough is enough? The team has only forced one punt in the last 2 weeks of the season, and that defense looks historically bad. What do you think was the straw that broke the camel's back to decide Dan Quinn? Let me call these plays myself now.
But it's funny you say that because, I'm just getting back in from, my thing on ESPN here in Richmond, and that was asked, like what took so long, and I'm like, I think they got tired of hearing us asking those questions, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you going to make a change? Are you going to make a change? Should something change? And I mean, let's face it, man. Over the last 4 weeks, this is probably as bad a defensive play that I've ever witnessed, ever
Yeah,
seen.
terrible.
It's been abysmal.
Mhm.
Number one options on the opposing offense have been 15 yards wide open. You can't have stuff like that. I don't care injuries. I don't care if you got a third stringer in there. They can't be that wide open. So I think he got to a point where the pressure was starting to build, and he didn't want to fire his guy. So basically, this is kind of like a demotion, so to speak, but to help coach this guy up to become the coordinator that I think that they all want him to be. But right now, it's just not working. So yeah, I think he felt the pressure and felt the need that it can't get any worse. So let me step in here and see if I can fix it.
We knew what was going to take place when the Detroit Lions got here, and we could have been probably significantly more healthy, and this still was probably going to happen on Sunday afternoon. But we're talking about a Lions offense that had a shaky-ish week versus the Vikings the week before. They come out to Northwest Stadium. Touchdown, 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 field goal, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, field goal, end of game. We didn't even stall one drive up from these boys for 60 minutes. Like, that is pitiful, Lake.
It was, and I'm gonna be honest. I think they called the dogs off. I
I think so
do.
too.
I think Dan Campbell has so much respect for Dan Quinn that they kind of pulled back because they easily could have hit 50. They could have 50 piece these guys if they really wanted to.
Yep.
Maybe even could have hit to the 60 if they
Yeah,
wanted to.
they could have hit 60.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So they called the dogs off. You look at the final score 44-22, it looks like maybe this game was competitive at some point. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. From the very beginning, you knew what was going to happen, and the building was pro Lion fans. They've been waiting for this for a full year, because of the way Washington ended their dream season last season. So
Mhm.
man, it was just bad. It was rock bottom. That's what I saw. Sunday was rock bottom.
And the worst thing possible about this entire season, we add a new character to the season-long injury list. Like the out for the season gang adds a new marker, and it's young guys, it's old guys, it's every type of player we have. Now Trey Amos, one of our few promising players that we want to see finish out the season, fractured fibula, he's out for the season as well. This feels like someone has a Commander's voodoo doll somewhere, because I've never seen anything like this before. I've seen injuries and I've seen teams get hit hard with injuries. I'm not sure I've ever seen a team get hit this hard.
Yeah, I think that there's something to be said about the mental aspect of things. Like when you are having a great season and one of those miraculous runs, like look at Seattle, for instance.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure, and I'm not saying guys are faking injury. You can't fake an injury.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can, but they're not faking injuries in Washington. Those are legit injuries. But I know last year there were probably guys dinged up at least that fought through because they were having one of those seasons, and
Yep.
you want to be part of that. But when you're snake bit and you're having just a disastrous campaign, yeah, man, the injury bug creeps up on you, and it looks like, and it appears to be even more than it is. No, man, this season might be the most injury riddled team I've ever covered, and I've covered a lot of them. So to see that happening, it's just amazing, man. I mean, to be honest with you, it's amazing that Jaden's injury wasn't more than what it looked like, because
Mm-hmm.
I could have sworn when I saw that, like, oh my gosh, this guy might have ligament damage, might have nerve damage. He
Mm-hmm.
could be next year, and he's fine. So those are the silver linings you try to take out of this, some of the positives. With Trey, it's a fibula. It's not the thick bone in the leg, the tibia. So, that's a non-weight bearing bone. So, which means, he technically could come back this season if they were to make the playoffs, but we know that's not happening. So just, shut them down. And then you got to start asking the question, Rio, if they lose this weekend, which is a legit possibility that they could lose to the Dolphins.
Oh, they're going to lose this weekend.
Yeah. So what do you bring Jaden back for? What do you bring Terry? What do you do? Like, the season's over.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what are you doing? And I understand as a competitor, you got to put them out there. I totally get it. You have to always show, your promise, and you're trying. And if they can come back, Jaden and Terry and look the part, it shows you hope for next year and what could have been this year. I'm shutting it all down myself. Especially if they lose this weekend, which looks like they might, you gotta start assessing what you have with some of the younger guys and see what you have going into next year.
And thank you. Now, I feel vindicated in my thought process, because they're like, Rio, you're soft. You're trying to baby. Listen, 5-17, there is no purpose for them to play the duration of the year. We might as well see what we got in Traylon Burks and some of these younger guys. Terry is not a spring chicken. Terry is 30 years old now. He's already aggravated his quad a couple times this year. I've been said shut his season down, so that's not even a conversation I'm further having. What would be the purpose of playing Jaden on November 30th when the Denver Broncos come to town to play against a 3-8 football team who may not be mathematically eliminated yet? But what is the purpose at that point? The season's over.
I know they're not mathematically eliminated, but for every fan out there that always holds hope, I respect you. I do. That's what you're supposed to do as a fan, ride for your team. But you also got to be realistic. Mm-hmm. And from what we've seen over the past month, I don't mean the whole season. I just mean the past month. What constitutes this football team being capable of winning a game? And they got some teams coming up. You just said Denver. They still got Philly twice, you know. they still got to go to Minnesota, and Minnesota's not. I know that they don't have a winning record. They're 4-5.
Minnesota beat that Lions team that we just got smacked by.
Exactly. So you have to think about that. You have to think. Even the Giants game now doesn't look like a gimme up in New York. There's some tough games that. You still got the Cowboys coming here, and I don't care how bad the Cowboys are. For whatever reason, they play well against Washington. Mm-hmm. So what makes you think that this team would be capable of reeling off 6-7 in a row? There's nothing that you've seen that makes you think that. You just want to see competitive football where there's a game after halftime, because at halftime, these games have been over. That's all.
And my thing is, like, if Jaden got hurt one time this year, like Joe Burrow, I would understand it. Like, I would get it. Okay, he got hurt one time. The season's lost. But all right, put him back out there. Let him get some more work. He's in his second year. He's been injured 3 times this year. He doesn't have reinforcements, weapons, or a healthy roster to go out there to. So it almost feels like malpractice putting him out there with this scab-ass version of what the Washington Commanders are. Marcus Mariota said it at the podium. I don't think we are who we thought we were, or some shit along the lines of that. And we don't even have that out there to put on the field.
Again, the only way I even consider putting Jaden back out there is if I know he's coming into a game, not 2-3 games into him coming back. I mean, the first game he comes back, Terry, Noah Brown, Deebo Samuel, they're all out there, and they're not out there gimpy. They're out there to perform. Then I would contemplate that, because you're showing what you have and seeing what you have to make everything feel better going into next year. But the way I've seen him get dropped this year with these injuries, I'm just that's the biggest investment this franchise may have ever had in their 100 years. I mean, it literally might be the biggest investment that they've ever had, and that's not blowing smoke. This guy was Rookie of the Year for a reason. This guy came into this year with one of the top 5 odds to win the MVP for a reason. You don't think there's a reason why that guy up in New England is doing well right now? He's got all his pieces on the field. They haven't been hit with the injury bug, and it makes perfect sense. So I'm shutting Jaden down, me personally. I know that may be a cop-out to some people. It may sound like you said, people saying, oh, you being soft. Do you want to see this guy go out there again and get hurt? And this time the injury could be something that lingers into his availability for next year. Nah, I can't do that. I'm sorry.
I'm going to be soft. You call me soft all you want to. I'm going to be pillow soft, because I'm protecting our investment. 5 is the only hope this franchise has that this build can actually be a successful one. And
sooner than later, right?
Yeah, and this season is a lost cause at this point, and I'm afraid for the team that we're going to put him out there with this year. So don't need to see him again this year. Shit, put Josh Johnson on the field at some point. And it's not a matter of quitting. Because even with 5 on the field, we're still going to lose. We are a bad team. We've been hit with the worst injury bug I've ever seen. This season is a cataclysmic disaster. Let's not heighten that by putting the quarterback at risk just to get some Hard Knocks TV time in the month of December.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, I know, I've never, constituted doing something like this, but this team needs a pick, man. They need a nice draft pick. I mean, because a lot. So you kind of hope your first one could be something that you kind of got with Jaden. You know what I mean? You hope that you can do that. And I'm gonna say it too. For all the Josh Connolly folks out there, he played
well.
That young boy's balling right now. He held his own against Aiden Hutchinson on Sunday. He's been playing good football. Yeah, he has a couple false starts or whatever, but that's everybody.
So
but he's playing good football. And listen, man, Rio, this thing, it's okay to say a rebuild. I think the whole recalibration thing last year made people think that they weren't rebuilding. But in actuality, yes, they've been rebuilding for 2 years now. And they tried to run back last year's roster, the bulk of it, with some of the older vets. They tried to run it back because they felt like they were a game away from the Super Bowl. You add Laramie Tunsil, Debo Samuel, some draft picks, you have enough to now challenge for that Super Bowl appearance. Well, the injuries have derailed that, and now you see Father Time creeping up into the game too. So are they going into year 3 next year? Are they going to be closer to the team we saw the first year? Or are they going to be what we see right now? And I don't think they would be what we see right now. I think they're going to be a competitive football team next year. The league is set up now for every team to have an opportunity, but you got to have what? You got to have that quarterback, and they got that part taken care of big time. So I think they'll be okay.
Yep, I think they're going to be fine too. But the humble pie has definitely set in. The football god said, okay, y'all had a little bit too much fun last year, a little bit too much dip on your chip, and you cannot skip the integral steps of building a roster. And last year's success made us feel like there are shortcuts to the top. And in this league, you can go to a conference championship game and never see the light of day of that round ever again, because we've seen it happen to plenty of teams.
Man, I gotta tell you, man, the thing I'm more personally disappointed in is the fact that I thought this year I was going to be covering the Super Bowl team. I made sure the wardrobe, everything was fresh.
I see you.
God. Now I'm like, am I overdressed now?
Hey, that boy Lake be at the stadium stunting, bro. He got a personal photographer catching the walkout like he's one of the players. I see you, Lake.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, man. This is called sponsorship, so you got to do what you got to do. But yeah, man, just like everybody thought this was going to be a special season all across the board, and it's turned into a especially horrific season. It's special, all right. It's like Yellow Bus special. It's different. I've never seen anything like this. I haven't. And I know, Lion fans, I had some friends that were here last weekend from Detroit, and they're like, cross the river, man. And I'm like, no. The injuries that you guys had last year clearly derailed your season. No one's going to take that from you. But your team still was winning games. They still went into the playoffs as a number 1 seed. And that's because you have many years of building that roster out. That's the difference between Washington and, say, even San Francisco still finding ways to win. But Kyle Shanahan's been there for 5 years. They've had time to build the depth on the roster. This is still a work in progress here in Washington, and now they're going to have to do it again for the 3rd straight season. So Adam may have to open that checkbook up a little bit and not do these 1-year deals. It may have to be something sustainable now.
Yeah, we have to actually target players that we would sign to long-term contract. No more thrift shopping at the clearance rack. No more this old guy gets a 1-year deal. Put a Band-Aid here, put a Band-Aid there. We need to actually have a correct off season because everyone's under a microscope. People are looking at Adam Peters' build so far like, what exactly did we do over these 2 years, man? Like that. It's crazy.
Rio, I think some of that's unfair because I know people say I'm an Adam dude. Yeah, I am. So,
Me too.
But I just know, like I know from being in there, I know what they're trying to accomplish. They want a physical football team. They want a large football team.
Fast.
Yeah,
we need that. We need fast. We need speed.
That's what I think now they see. Like, no offense to Terry or Debo or any of these guys, great football players, but they need somebody that's going to scare the what out of you as far as stretching that field out. And they don't have it. And people keep saying, well, De'Ami Brown did no. No, stop that. Shame on you for thinking that. No. A deep ball every blue moon, that's not cutting it. They need someone that's consistently doing these things And that's going to open it up even more for Terry if Terry's back next year. And I can't even sit here and tell you with a straight face that's lock, set, and key. You know,
Lake, Lake, you better stop it. You better stop it, Lake. Somebody better come for you.
I've said this, and I'm gonna say it again. Everybody's expendable except for number 5. The way and what I'm saying, if a trade came up that you couldn't turn down, you got to think of the future. You're not thinking about what was done in the past. And I keep saying that Terry is deserving of everything he's getting from what he's done in the past. But this team now is set up to be something that needs to be relevant now and into the immediate future. They got a stadium coming up. Terry's not playing in that stadium in 5 years. Let's be realistic here.
Yeah, he's not.
Debo's not playing in that stadium in 5 years. Zach Ertz not playing in there. Bobby Wagner's not playing in there. Noah Brown not playing in there.
Yeah. Some of these older players don't need to be playing in Northwest next year.
You could make an argument that Laramie might not even be playing in there in 5 years, realistically. But guess who is? Number 5.
And that's the plan. That is always the plan. Yes.
So you need to get number 5 weapons that he can grow with. I do think Terry is someone that he can grow with, but Terry's going to be a year older next year at 31. I'm just telling you, you know, someone told me, oh, he could be like Jerry Rice. And I just, are you even mentioning Jerry Rice?
We need to stop that. We need to stop that dumb shit. Our fans need to stop that shit. Like that shit is embarrassing when they do that.
This Terry session, not even close. I'm just saying this is where this fan base, which never needed to be realistic about anything because it stunk before.
Yeah, all the time.
It's different now, y'all. It's different. And you have your centerpiece already in play, your quarterback. Everyone around the league recognizes this guy's a special talent. So don't be fooled. You didn't see a mirage last year. It's real. Did he regress a little bit this year in certain ways? Sure he did, because he didn't have his weapons. I mean, that's common sense. But what they need to do next year is they need to literally go out, be aggressive in free agency. They have money. They need to be aggressive as far as fielding offers for players that don't play into your long term. If you're telling me that you bring Terry back and you bring Debo back and you bring all these guys back to run it back for one more year, we saw how that worked this year. So now you got to be realistic here.
Yep, you got to be.
No more calibration in your.
Yep. No more that recalibration shit. It's a rebuild. We're going to call it exactly what it is. And when it's time, Dan Quinn has to be open to outsourcing better coaches on his staff and not just this promote from within brotherhood type shit. But I have a question for you.
Yes.
Because I've seen a lot of people on social media, they are giving Terry hell because they never see him on the sideline at home games and stuff. And they saw Jaden with a big ass bionic arm sling. They saw him making the rounds and showing some good spirit. They never see Terry on the home sideline. And all of a sudden they see Terry's flying to Spain to not play. And they feel like he's trying to get a nice little vacation with his new bride with the team this week. What do you have to say to fans that are hard on Terry for not seeing him on the sidelines with the team?
I don't, man. Because I don't like it either. I'm just saying it. I've been saying it for weeks. I'd like to see Terry around the team because let's face it, he wasn't around them during training camp. You know, he came out there and guys were like, oh, everything's great in the building. Bull. Because I know some that did not like it. Okay. I already said that fractured this thing from the jump. Okay. He's your second best player on the roster, might be your most important offensive piece, even with Jayden, you know. It just doesn't come across. And I think the optics of, like we said, you and I said this during the training camp, the optics of what was.
Yep. You still with us, Lake? Still let us say, hey, Lake got paused real quick. He got freeze frame. The black SUVs from BigBear.ai Performance Center done got to my boy. But before Lake locks back in with us, I don't have a problem with Terry not being on the sideline because I don't care if you're not playing. I don't care where you are. Me personally, I don't care where you are. I get it. Team morale. You want to see guys heeing it up and go teaming on the sideline. Me personally, I don't give a fuck because if you're not on the football field, I'll see you again when it's time to see you out there on the football field. Like I seen people last week on Twitter that were hyped because someone tweeted about Jaden and Terry walking out of the building with smiles on their faces. I don't give a shit about that. Like, that may excite y'all. Like, I see people, oh my God, we're so back. What are we back to? 2 injured side field players with good vibes at practice? That don't do anything for me. That don't do anything for me personally. If it does for you, congratulations. But I don't care. I do not care about them smiling on the sideline when they're not playing in the football game. That shit don't mean a thing to me. But I'm going to check on my brother Lake in the technical difficulties. I'm going to try to get him back in here with us in a second. But let me stop for a quick word from today's sponsor.
Sweeper is the #1 fantasy sports app. It pays to know sports. Pick more or less on top players. Your first pick is on us, so start winning now. Play in Texas, Georgia, Minnesota, and 27 more states. Pick anytime across all sports, pregame or live. Over 10 million players are already on Sleeper. Make your picks count. Score up to 1,000 times your cash. Join today. Get up to $100 credit using code RIO91. Call your shot on Sleeper. Download now.
Are you back, gang? We good to go?
What happened there, my friend? My bad.
Oh, no. I thought the black SUVs was coming to get you. So I thought the team may have sent somebody after you for a second. But, yeah, we were talking about the whole Terry not being on the sideline things. Like, for me, that's not a big deal. But I guess I get why fans are like, you're one of the faces of this franchise. You got paid this offseason. Is it a rehab thing? Is it a specific injury? Is there a reason why we aren't seeing Terry out there?
I mean, sometimes when guys are injured, they're upstairs. You know, they always have to stay upstairs if you're injured. But I know I've looked and I didn't see him Sunday. You know, I didn't see him at all Sunday. So I don't know. You know, the president was there. There was a whole lot of chaos there. You know, so I don't know. Maybe that's why he stayed back. I don't know. I'm one of those people that just feels like if you are one of the faces of a franchise and you've touted yourself as one of those, just that as a face of the franchise, longtime fan favorite, I think you need to be out there. More importantly, I just think you need to be out there for your teammates. You know, just for the guys. You know, there's young guys out there playing now that kind of been thrust into, you know, frontline roles, especially at the wide receiver position. Let's face it. I think it would be good for Terry McLaurin to be out there. I'm sure he does it in practice every day when we see him out there, of course. But I just think in a game situation, it's similar to me saying I think that you know, Joe Witt should have been on the sidelines. I've been saying that all year because just from a communication standpoint, you can talk to guys. So it would be nice to see Terry down there. But I mean, listen, it's not if he's out there or not, if he's down on the sidelines or not, it's not going to change the outcome.
Oh, it ain't going to change a thing about the outcome. And like my guy said in the chat below, the sidelines are dangerous. With the way that this season is going, we can't put it past a coach, a sideline player, a cameraman a camera girl almost got rocked by Chris Rodriguez after his touchdown. Nobody's safe in burgundy and gold this year.
It's not. You got fans jumping out the stand, getting ran. Bro, he took 2 steps and got rocked.
Sign them guards, man.
Bro. But I'm just saying, you know, I think it, and this isn't singling Terry out. This is any frontline player. If you can be out there to help your teammates, you know, I think visibly it's a good thing, you know, from a visible standpoint. So I can understand some fans being upset with him for not being there. But I mean, it's Terry, man. You know, if anything, Terry's a hard worker. He's trying to do whatever he's can to get back out there. But yeah, man, it does seem like with Terry, and I can say this, it does seem a little disjointed this year, even in the media, the way we've been approached or lack of approach. That hasn't been Terry over the years. Terry's been front and center. Look, the joke is when you get an interview with Terry, you might as well designate 5-10 minutes because Terry can talk,
Yep.
But that hasn't been Terry this year at all. So if he's upset with us in the media, or if he's upset with the way things have been perceived, I mean, at the end of the day, he's the common denominator is him. He's part of that, of why things look the way they do. So you just want to see him back out healthy, playing good football like he always has, and also smiling, man, because I do believe that's been missed by this team this year. I will stand on that comment that infectious energy that Terry always has played with, for it not to be on the field physically is one thing, but then to not see it on the sidelines as well. Yeah, man, I do think it's seeped in a little bit.
It feels like we're a spiritless, identityless football team that's just been grasping at straws all season. We don't know who we are, and when
identity for years, right?
Yep. Yeah, so that another reason to why the season went to hell. But despite all the injury, and there's been a lot of injury this year, the players actually taking the field for the team, it's been bad. These boys can't tackle. These boys can't cover. There's confusion on both sides of the ball. We can't manage time. We burn an early timeout very early every half of every football game. It's been disjointed. We look like we're in year one of the rebuild all over again. And there's not many positive lights to even shine on right now.
Yeah, but you gotta be realistic too, man. Like, your number one receiver is gone. Your number 3 receiver is gone. Your number 4 receiver.
This shit is crazy.
I mean, you got 2 guys that was in there at the same time that weren't even on the roster a month ago.
Yep.
Literally out there getting reps, getting passes thrown to them. Mm-hmm. Listen, Traylon Burks looked good to me the other day.
Yeah, he looked solid.
He did. Solid. He looked like a nice, you start thinking, okay, if you can mold him in with Debo and Terry, and maybe he and Luke, and maybe he replaces Noah Brown if Noah continues to be injured. That's not bad,
Younger Noah Brown, I will take it.
Yeah. I'm thinking that's not bad, But then you have to say to yourself too, there's a reason why Traylon Burks was available. Yep. So that's the other side that
he already done found his ass on the injury list.
Exactly, got the finger injury, so he's not even going over to Spain. So
go get you a free trip to Spain, Traylon Burks. Come on, man.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like,
buddy, wrap that shit and get out there,
man. Like real talk, man. It's like reality is always lurking just when you think you got something, and it's like, wow, it kind of reminds me of Bill right now. Mm-hmm. He scored, but that burst and everything, like every time early in the season and even going back into camp, it was like every time the kid touched the ball, you held your breath because you thought he could pop one.
Yep.
Now it's like, where did that go? What happened? Are you calling I can understand the pass game not worth the crap. Your quarterback out, your receivers out, but your offensive line is still pretty much intact. Yeah. And you're not running the football like you used to, So again, man, I can't put my finger on this, but I will say this. I really do believe that both coordinators got to pick it up or they got to go. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, like I feel like Cliff has had a much larger cliff that he has to coach from this year with all the injuries and stuff, but he hasn't been in his bag this year either.
No, he hasn't, and I will say that in fairness to Cliff, look at what he's working with.
Yeah, he's working with some
Oh,
bullshit.
well, all your backs are still healthy. Your offensive line is still healthy, relatively speaking. And Marcus has proven that he's an adequate, NFL quarterback. But what are you calling? You still want to come in these games and keep passing and keep passing. And I'm like, don't you understand the offense that you're going up against is going to score every time they touch the ball? You got to run the football to keep your defense or a resemblance of a defense. You got to keep them healthy and fresh in the game as opposed to being on the field all the time because you want to start passing the ball. Cliff gets pass happy quite a bit, and that's the truth. Chris Rodriguez was running that thing the other day, and then they kind of went away from him. And I understand you're falling behind, but that's because you're trying to shoot. And I told somebody this. Washington's coming into this game. The other team's coming in fully semi-automatic loaded. Washington's coming into the game with snaps. On the ground, they come in with snaps,
fireworks,
and little sparklers, and you're trying to get into shootouts with teams that you have no business doing that against, and you're giving them the ball an awful lot, and they're just going to go down the field and keep scoring. Even if they're kicking field goals, they're getting points, and you're not on the offense. So I agree with you. Cliff he has to do a better job of being a little bit more creative. They jump on that bubble screen all the time now. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson almost had a one-hand interception. He was
out here. We
fast,
we running tight end screens to John Bates, Luke.
I mean, come on. I mean, and again, if you're gonna run that, okay, I'm perfectly fine with it. But Ben Sinnott has wheels. So why are you can't you get a better personnel package on the field if you're gonna run that play? They throwing deep routes to Robbie Chosen, man. I mean, I'm just saying, bro. But you're still running that sweep, with Debo. I'm like, come on, man. Debo should be being worked down the field.
Ever since the Hill, we've stopped using Debo the receiver, so his production has fell off a cliff.
Exactly, period. And so I just don't know what they're trying to accomplish, man. It just seems like, I don't know. Sometimes when I watch them offensively, it's like Madden. It's just a play that's called because you don't have a lot of time left. You got to put your play in, pick your play, and you call it. But it's like, what is the identity? You said it yourself. This team has no identity. None. If you ask me what do they do well, we might be here all day thinking about it.
Yeah, we'll be anything. It would take a while to get to what we're doing well this season. They made a switch. We played more 13 personnel than I'm used to seeing with 3 tight ends on the field with Bates, Sinnott, and Ertz. I like that. That's something.
Well, you know what I don't like about it? I don't like these tight packages. I don't like the fact that they don't spread their receivers out because teams are already flooding the box because they know you don't have any receivers. Yep. So my thing is, okay, it's like you're saying they know that I don't have any receivers and we don't have any receivers.
We don't.
So we're just going to play everything tight in here and they're going to pack the box with 8, 9 people. You're not running the football. So I need to see a play down the field, even if there's no shot of it being caught. You need to let defenses know you're still going to try to go down the field. Last time I looked, Jalen Lane has some speed, and when you given the opportunity to go down the field, he's made some plays, but it's just not enough. It's almost like, I don't know if Cliff's overthinking this, man. Simplify this stuff, man. It doesn't have to be this gadgety.
It doesn't. And everyone knows what's happening every time Deebo Samuel goes in motion. When he goes in motion, it's a jet sweep. We're not stupid.
Every time. And they're jumping that now. I mean, last time I looked, this is a large offensive line and an athletic offensive line to go with that. They're not being used that way. This is where if you had some plays under center, you might be able to establish the run game a little better. But when you're in shotgun formation all the time and you're asking these super large offensive linemen to pass pro all the time, that's just not you're not helping your own cause. And that's what they have to get back to. If they don't run the football at Miami Sunday, I'll be highly disappointed.
And speaking of under center, y'all need to give some of that flack y'all give Josh Connerly to Tyler Biotish, because he's not having a good season. He's having a rough 2025. And he's healthy.
He is. And again, I'm not in this to make excuses for people, but he's been taking cadences from two different quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's like every other week is happening. He
began whooped on though. Like as hard as y'all on the rookie on Josh Connerly Jr., Biotish is a vet.
Yeah, he hasn't had the season like if you could make an argument that the two guys that were the centerpieces for them on the offensive line, him and Sam, like Sam's coming around, but you can still see he's still working it in. Yeah. But if you were to say the guys that have had the best seasons on the offensive line, Chris Paul might be one, Laramie, and then Josh in that order. So again, that bodes well going forward. Brandon Coleman needs to be in the lineup somewhere. I don't know where you get him in though, but he's a guy that when he's been thrust into action this year, he's played well. I thought he was playing well before he got benched. That's just me. But you have some things that you have to figure out. And again, I just think their offensive line is more talented than the way they look. And I think that they could be really good if they were utilized and given an opportunity to put a body on a man and not have to worry about all this gadgety stuff that they have to account for as well. And I think that has affected Tyler quite a bit.
Washington is going into the 2026 offseason with the third most effective salary cap in the NFL going into it. And they have a decision to make. They just gave 30-year-old Terry McLaurin a very lucrative contract. Deebo Samuel is also 30 years old. Can they afford to give another 30-year-old receiver whose production has kind of taken a dip since hurting his heel? Can they afford to pay Deebo Samuel, or do they need to go younger? Alec Pierce, Romeo Doubs, and in the draft as well to supplement the wide receiver room behind Terry?
Yeah, I think they could sign Deebo to a very Terrius type, contract where it's incentive based.
Yeah, incentive based, not in compensation, right?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. If they do it and it's incentive based, you would win if you did that. You would actually Adam Peters would be brilliant if he could get Deebo to sign a contract like that.
Team friendly. Got to be team friendly.
Got to be team friendly. But if you're Deebo and you know that this might be your last one, you might go where the money is, unless you love the culture here enough that you want to come back. And most of the guys love it here. Most of the guys love Dan Quinn. I mean, you heard Von Miller the other day. Von Miller could have gone somewhere else in a trade. He wants to stay here. He wants to be here. He wants to play for Dan Quinn. He loves the culture here. So if you can get that kind of contract for Deebo to sign, then yeah, you do it. But you're going to have 2 30-plus receivers running it out for you next year. I think we all know they're going to draft a receiver too. They have to. They have to start making those concession plans going forward. Again, not stirring the pot or just being loud or saying anything silly, but I just know with the injuries to Jaden and the last one, the way he went down, and the heat that the organization was starting to feel from fans, like, you're going to get our best player killed by not protecting him, by not getting him weapons. I think Jaden's in the driver's seat to possibly be able to get some of his guys up in here. I truly believe that.
Yeah, I know me personally, I really like Deebo Samuel, and I like the chess piece he could be offensively. I'm no longer in the business of wanting anything over 27 years old and us committing to them. Like, there's younger Romeo Doubs or Alec Pierce me, and then go draft a guy at some point in the 2026 draft. And I don't know if we could go into the 2026 draft saying Washington has to do this in the first round, but they have to think very long and hard about the edge room, because we don't have edge rushers over here, and we do not have any young talent at the edge position over here. And Dorrance is on the last year of his contract next year, and he's coming off a serious injury. It almost feels like they got to go edge in the first round next year.
They have to. I mean, they have to, and they're going to have a high enough pick to get one. You know, I will say this though: if somebody comes to me and says you can trade back and you can get a late first rounder and a second rounder, I'm trading back.
Just we're going to be in prime real estate for a quarterback needy team to come up for somebody, but it depends on where we at, because I don't know if we on the board and someone like Ruben Bain from Miami or Arvell Reese, who could be the next Micah Parsons from Ohio State, on the board. You weigh out dart throws versus game-changing player, and I don't know. I've seen Peters with 5 picks on day 2 before, and that shit didn't pan out. I might take the player over all the picks, man.
Yeah, you know, I'll say this too, though. I think this year's draft class is giving you everything that you need. You know, they've proven that they can play. You got a tackle playing well. I mean, listen. The problem is that his first ever pick was Jaden Daniels. So you got your generational player, but then the other guys, like Mikey, to me seems like he's regressed this year. You know, that's just me. Brandon Coleman was inactive for 4 straight games. You know, you're looking at some of these guys that you took in that first draft. Ben Sinnott doesn't get on the field at times. You know,
he caught him a touchdown the other day. By the way, look at him.
The last 2 games for him, you know, even the Kansas City game, he had a nice catch and he showed you the wheels. But when we're resigned to, you know, coming up with the 1 play that he did well, the 2 plays he did well,
what are we doing?
Second round draft pick, man.
Also, Johnny Newton's not that good. Like we picked him with the 36th pick of the draft. He's not that good. We had expectations for this guy.
He was about to be Pro Bowl material off the
same.
I don't know, man. Is it scheme? Is it, you know, one of the things that I always was worried about with Dan Quinn's defense was that Dan Quinn's defense, everywhere he's been, their corners and secondary play was uber strong. Everywhere. They caused turnovers, but you could run on his teams. You got to go back to the Sam Adams days in Seattle and all that stuff when the Legion of Boom was popping, where they was just, you couldn't do anything against that defense. But when he was in Atlanta, even when they went to the Super Bowl, you could run on their team. And it just seemed like the defensive line play at the tackle positions in particular, there was a lot to be desired, you know, and now I'm seeing it with Johnny a little bit, like what happened to the burst and the motor that this guy played with last year on bad wheels, you know, like, is it coaching? Because I refuse to believe this guy was the defensive player of the year in the Big Ten. Okay. One of the 2 best conferences in all of football.
We're talking about top 15 pick.
That's what I'm saying.
I ain't seen that over here.
Right. So what happened? Where there's been regression with not just him, but with Mikey, with Quan. I mean, like, what has happened? Are they so were they overvalued as players coming out of school? I don't think so. Or are they just not being put in right positions, or are they not being coached? Are they not retaining the information? Is it overload? Something's going on where all these young guys, not just Johnny, but all of them seem like they're regressing. Jalen Lane looks like he's regressing a little bit from where he was at the beginning of the season. And I understand when you're playing with Terry and Debo, you're going to open things up for yourself. I get it. But something, there's something off about the coaching that these young guys are getting. They really are.
Yeah, man, this is bad. It's bad. There's not too many bright spots to look at that we've put out on the football field this year. And when you had a spoil of riches coming into 3 second-round picks and 2 third-round picks and 6 top 150 picks, you're supposed to come away with some promise.
Yeah, you got to nail that. Like, Washington was sitting pretty going into last year. Remember,
So fun.
You were like, man, you're gonna get your quarterback, and you got all these other picks. They about to really come up.
Mm-hmm.
I understood the calibration conversation, but now those picks haven't given you anything, and when you're dependent on 35-year-olds, 36-year-olds, people begging for Vaughn to make plays now on the edge. We need Vaughn to look like, bro. That's not Denver Von Miller. No offense.
Mm-hmm.
You can't expect that. You need these young guys to know what they're doing. Like Jordan McGee was running around the other day out there like he had no clue where he was supposed. It's just it's out there. Where was he supposed to be? But see, I don't put that all on him. Yeah, maybe he needs to pick up that playbook a little more often. But the coaching, man, you got to get these guys to perform better than what they have because they look bad.
And I can live with some of the younger players out there being lost. We got 10-year, 12-year grizzled veterans out there looking lost on Sunday. We don't tackle, we don't cover, we don't get the quarterbacks. It's just a complete failure of an organization this year. And this season is lost as hell, whether people want to accept it or not. And that confuses me as to why Kane Madrano is inactive every day. They drafted Kane with the 6th round pick. Can you get some answers for me, Lake? Because we want to know.
Disappointed in that myself, man. That's my guy, man. And I know he works hard. We saw in preseason, we saw the glimpses. We saw like Ali Cajo as well. I see these guys. I saw Ali make a great play on special teams the other night. Great tackle. All I'm saying is, man, it can't get any worse. Why not start incorporating some of these young guys in there? You have to, but it's because they don't feel like their season's over. That's what it is, Rio, in a nutshell. They still feel like they're capable of going on a run, man. And I'm like,
bless their hearts, man.
That's not happening. It's like reality is real. It's called reality, and it's real. And this team can't win 7 games in a row. Or who are we kidding here? Come on, man. It's not happening.
Yeah, man. This ain't no Mickey Mouse in us. Ain't no Mickey Mouse run in these boys this year. I want to see Kane Madrano. They got Ali Cajo playing. Kane Madrano can't play special teams. Like,
that's what I'm saying. With that kind of speed, I just want to see some fast dudes, man. Because every time I look up, it's a 15-yard cushion between the opposing offense's number one player is 15 yards wide open in the middle of the field. And I'm like, bro, you can't get me some speed out there. You should not be asking Bobby Wagner to do what you're asking him to do. That's not Bobby's problem. It was his problem when they put him out there in them positions. But everybody's saying he's washed, and no, he's not. He's still in the box, in the trenches. He's still one of the best to do it still. But I don't need him outside that trenches. I don't need him outside the box.
Nope.
It's okay to say to Bobby on 3rd downs, I'm going to bring this guy in. It's okay. But you know what the problem with that is? Bobby still is putting guys in position out there who don't know.
Coach. Yeah, he's a coach on the field.
He's still getting guys to line up where they're supposed to be because they don't know where they're supposed to be. He's still helping them. So that's why I tell fans, Bobby Wagner's more important than some of y'all realize. If you sit him down, ooh-wee.
It fall apart. But there's not much to hold together in the first place. Is what.
But it's not. It can't get any worse, right? The only thing that would happen is the scores would be in the 50s now. Teams are scoring at will on these guys. They're making it look easy. It's like little resistance, bro. It's I'm going to say it. This might be the worst defense I've ever covered in Washington. They worse than Zach Del Rio's defenses.
Yeah, it's up there. It's definitely up there. Their blitzes are so recognizable, and you can see it from a mile away. And at this point,
you're too real. Let's be honest. Like they were 12-5 last year. They easily could have been 13-3. Had that defense got Pittsburgh off the field,
Mhm.
had that defense, been able to do something with Dallas. You know, it's we saw in the NFC Championship game, we saw it. You know, they could not stop Philadelphia. And that's where you thought, okay, it would get better this year with another year of continuity and understanding the scheme. And it just got more complicated for some reason. It just didn't look good.
Didn't.
And them not addressing that edge rusher spot, I think has reared its head. Don't get me wrong. If Dietrich Wise did not get injured, I don't think you're going to see some of these problems because he was a dog, man, and he could set the edge for sure.
And that's the thing, though, when your unit being held up to guys like Dietrich Wise, like, yo, we can't move without Dietrich Wise, then there's a building problem.
Yeah, no, I understand. I totally get it. When you're telling me that Von Miller at his age is going to be the answer, you know, some of your pass rush woes. No, man. Like no offense to Von. Von's a first ballot Hall of Famer, you know. And he still can play. But you haven't seen much from him, you know, as far as what you were hoping to see. Dorrance was playing really good football, and you and I both said he was going to get double-digit sacks, and he was well on his way. But again, when you're holding everything to these type of players, yeah, like I just want to see them have a defensive player that opposing teams are game planning for.
Bingo. We don't have one on the roster right now. We do not have one person that an offensive coordinator has to say, circle him, follow him everywhere he goes.
Exactly.
He can wreck our whole plan.
They don't have that. They don't.
Nope.
And in fairness to that, the two that they had on offense have been injured, Terry and Jaden. So, you know, I understand where the woes come in, but on the defensive side of the ball,
nada.
Even Dorrance, as good as Dorrance is, teams probably saw him on the tape because
he's not that, though.
But that's what I'm saying. But I'm talking about a Sean T type guy. Like, I don't want receivers telling coaches, I'm not running that route if he's standing right there. I'm not doing that. They don't have anybody like that. You know, I thought Frankie could be something like that. I was waiting for them to use him in a Micah Parsons role this year. What are they doing with him? He don't even look like the same player.
He's come back to reality. They got me out there wearing the number 4 uniform.
Bro, I mean, and I'm going to say it, that one run, man, where nah, Frankie, man. It looked like Frankie turned his back. He ain't want
he ain't want no parts of that contact.
Yeah, he ain't want no part of Penny Sewell coming at him there. And I just
business decision.
Bro, I was disappointed with that.
Where my demon go, Lake?
Yeah, because it used to be an absolute terror last year. And people saw where he was and they didn't want to come around him because they were going to get popped. I don't see that energy or burst now. He looks defeated almost out there. You can't tell me that Frankie Louvu forgot how to play football. What that is guys not believing in their system and what they're being asked to do. That's clearly what this is.
That's what it's got to be, because he does look like he forgot how to play. He looks like he's been Space Jam zapped of his talents, his aggression, his attitude, his fire. Frankie Louvu is running from contact. He's running from smoke. That was not something that was a possibility for us when the vibes and the morale were high last year. In a world where now Traylon Burks has joined the injured report, did they forget that Ja'Cory Brooks exists, or did they just have no desire to see him on an NFL football field?
You know, I've always said this. When a guy that has shown you flashes at times in camp doesn't get on the roster, and then every opportunity when a receiver, they're going out and signing guys that were
Robbie Chosen
parking cars last week. You know what I'm saying? Like bagging groceries. I mean, I'm joking with that, but they weren't in this line of work. So he's still not being called up. That means they're not seeing something. That means maybe he can't retain the playbook. Cliff doesn't have confidence in him from practices to put him in, because if they're going to come back and tell us, no, we do have confidence in him and we're developing him. No, man, he needs to be on the field. So you gave up a roster spot for a guy that can't crack your roster. You understand what I mean by that, right? They put him on the practice squad when maybe there could have been somebody else on there. If you're not going to pull him up, what is that telling you? Are you not coaching this kid up? Because I saw some plays. He was making plays in practices for sure, but they won't give him a chance. I mean, they called him up before. They did. They called him and oh my goodness, who was the other kid that they called up, and then they end up releasing him? Surprise.
Tay Martin.
Tay Martin. I mean, Tay Martin was out there doing.
We ran out of practice squad elevations for Tay Martin. That's what type of season we have.
Right. And I'm like, but keep him up on the roster if that's the case. Because when he played, he made a play or two when they called his number, but they outright released the man. So I'm just like, wow, like, I don't know, man. But this musical chairs thing has got to stop next year. You got to have depth that you can run with, because bringing these guys up off the roster, I mean, with name changes, different guys like Robbie Anderson, Robbie Chosen. I mean, come on, man.
I've never seen anything like. I don't think I've ever seen a team have to utilize practice squad elevations like we have to this year. So what they're telling us as fans is that Kane Madrano and Ja'Cory Brooks are not good enough to get on the field on a terrible football team in a lost season. That's making me have little confidence in the Kane Madrano pick, and it feels like an alma mater buddy Bruin hire.
I mean, you can say that. You can call it however you see that, because it does reek of that if you don't think Kane is good enough to be on the field. I know he's good enough to be out there on the field. And I also will say this too. Even if he wasn't, can it get any worse? So that's what I'm saying. I want to see some of these guys get out there, because you have to figure out what you have. You have to. You can't keep, running the same stuff out there and it's not working. Some of these young players need to be out there, and they have to be able to get an opportunity for you to see what they have. Period.
No Lattimore, no Amos. Hey, bring up Darius Rush, former South Carolina Gamecock. Bring him up off the practice squad. The only purpose of this season until its completion is to see if there are any young guys that are going to be a part of the nucleus of this team going forward. That's all we've got to the end of the year. And unfortunately, seeing what Jaden Daniels looks like when he gets back, because whether we agree with it or not, they putting his ass back out there in a few weeks.
Exactly. And on top of that, in fairness to Bobby and Zach, Hall of Famers, because I do believe Zach Ertz is a Hall of Fame tight end. Not ballot. I think he gets in overall, though.
He will.
Bobby's first ballot. Von's first ballot. We know that. But there has to be a consensus. There has to be a concession plan here where their reps get limited. And it's
give them a headset and the playbook, man. Y'all are coaches now.
Yeah, it's not to be disrespectful, because they've earned every reason to be on the field.
It's a fact.
But your season's over. And it's officially over after Sunday if they lose to Miami. It's officially over. Because you would have to win every game just to even have a chance to get in. You still would need help. And you would need help by teams that already beat you in the NFC. It's over. So you're right. I need to see some of the young guys. And again, I've been saying this for weeks. I don't need Kane to get 40 reps on defense, but I would like to see him get 7, 8, 9, maybe 10. But those reps that he does get need to utilize his speed, like blitz him, give him something, have him cover a tight end, do something that you haven't been doing, because you're asking. The thing that I guess I'm more disappointed in more than anything is we were told 2 years ago that no player on this roster is going to be asked to do things that they're incapable of doing. You remember that, right?
Yep.
They were like, we don't believe that. We want our guys to play fast, free, physical. That's all you kept hearing. They don't have to think. They can just go play downhill on both sides of the ball. I ain't seen that at all. I see guys talking and pointing and like not knowing, doing this, not knowing where they're supposed to be as the ball is being hiked on defense. On offense, I'm seeing guys false starting. I'm seeing guys missing some assignments. It just to me keeps coming back to coaching. And do they have the right head coach? Absolutely. Dan Quinn is the guy for the job. I don't even think that's for debate. He set the culture here, the tone. He has, but I will say this: I'm glad that he did what he did with Joe Witt. I think it's a little late to do it, but he did it. So you got to give him credit for that, because that's not easy for somebody to demote their boy. You know, that's tough, but he did it, and he did it knowing that it's for the betterment of the franchise, for the organization. So now, you know, remember when Ron made that change and he said, I'm going to call the defense Ron Rivera, and then the defense went out there and they look bad. So we'll see if this makes a difference. I think it's going to make a big difference personally.
I don't know if this season there's much difference that can be made, but we will see going forth. After this one, your wheels up to Madrid this week. Despite how gloomy and melancholy this season's been, you going to Madrid, man? What you and Miss Janine doing out in Madrid?
Well, guess what? It's supposed to be raining all week there.
Oh,
yeah, I know, man. Like it might clear up Saturday, and Sunday should be a good, should be weather-wise should be great. But again, my baby already texted me, she's out, running her errands, getting ready. But she texted me when I was on the radio this morning and just said nothing's gonna put a damper on our trip.
Y'all have a ball out there. I know Lake gonna have that shit on out there, and
no.
That's a beautiful stadium, Santiago Bernabeu Stadium, where Real Madrid plays. Enjoy it. Bring us some vibes from out in Madrid. I don't know if it's gonna affect any of the impact on the game, but let folks know where they can find you on your way out, Lake.
Sure, yeah. You can check me out on social media, Lake Lewis Jr. You can subscribe to my show, Lake Lewis Jr. Show. You can watch it on YouTube. You can, subscribe to it on all the major podcast carriers. And then also you can listen to it, next month it's on ESPN Radio. So super excited about that. And it's all official. So, I can say that now. Yeah, and I got some other stuff coming up, with the league. So I'm excited, man. Everything's going well. And you can also check out my stuff on CBS 6 if you're in the Richmond area as well. So appreciate it, man. We just pushing along.
Yeah, absolutely. Does Washington break the losing streak this weekend?
No.
You can hear that same answer from me. We don't even got to go into detail about it. But thank you, as always, for rocking with me. Safe travels. I hope the flights go through. Everything goes according to plan. And we'll be back again next week to talk about Lake's trip to Spain, because I'm sure it's going to be much more interesting than Washington's trip to Spain. That's all I got for right now. Commander Rio, my brother Lake Lewis Jr. Until next time.